everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of. My name is Oscar. I will be one of your hosts today, and with me, per usual, are your three other hosts, Alex, Brian, and Devin. Hey guys,
What's up? What's up?
What's going on,
Hello,
boys?
everyone.
Welcome.
how's everyone doing on this great day?
I'm doing pretty fantastic. Can't complain.
I haven't seen the sun in 2 days, so
Oh no.
it's only rain.
Oh my! Oh no!
I'm doing awful. I broke my head.
Yeah, Brian has a story about breaking his head, but that's
Uh,
We're
send him
alive.
well wishes.
I was bleeding out. Broke my back, spinal.
Yikes.
It's a Mike Tyson reference. I don't know if anybody understands that, but
But we're here.
All right, let's go. All right. Are you guys ready to jump into our first segment of the week,
Let's do it.
which we like to call
News talk.
All right. So it's news time. News talk. Let's get into it. Our first
News
news story of the week. We got the final trailer for No Time to Die, the last Daniel Craig James Bond movie.
Oh, the last one? He's not going to be James Bond anymore?
Nope, this is his last one.
Wow.
I mean, granted, he has said that for like the past like two.
Oh,
He's
right.
always said, I'm not going back.
Coming out of
So-
retirement again.
Yeah,
Right.
until they offer him another $50 million, it's his last one.
Right.
Did you guys see the trailer? How do we feel about it? I haven't seen it actually.
I
But
think it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that all the trailers for the most part look pretty interesting. They put the James Bond music and it like they edit it well.
that's all you need.
Yeah.
But I never saw the last movie. I never saw Spectre, so
Yeah, me neither.
I'd have to watch that to get into this because
Mhm.
they're actual like recurring characters in this iteration
oh
of
my
James
gosh, I can't catch up
okay.
on 3 whole ass movies for Daniel
Bond.
Craig. Come on.
I might
But,
do it. I might just do
yeah.
it. If it's his actual last one, that sounds cool. But I might be more excited
Yeah.
for the new James Bond. Like I'm interested.
We wanted to be
see-
Idris Elba.
Yeah,
I
let's get a
mean-
black James Bond up in here.
Well, there is a black woman in this movie who is an agent as well. Originally, I don't know if it's still going to do this or maybe they'll keep it a secret. They were going to have her be 007 in this movie, as in like
Ooh.
James Bond. He's James Bond, but he lost the 00 status or he retired and quit it. And she's the new
Oh,
007. So she's not necessarily James Bond, but she's still 007. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that'd be interesting.
Mhm.
Wow.
Something new.
Nerds would be so mad.
Yeah.
Every James Bond trailer is just him like falling, like he's always in like a dirty suit and he's just like falling down some tower or like, random old build like thing in like Venice, Italy or something, and there's like a car chasing him and he's got to like put some bed sheets together to like swing through a bridge or something
Yeah,
like that. Like
sounds accurate.
it's always something goofy like that.
And he has a pistol.
Yeah, always. Always.
Yeah, that's true. It looks good. I think Rami Malek looks good as the villain.
Oh shit, he's the villain. I wasn't paying
Yeah.
attention too hard to the trailer, but that's kind of cool.
He looks interesting because Rami Malek has probably the most terrifying face. I feel it's just scary. His eyes are just too big and they're scary and they frighten me.
He a funny looking boy. I'll give him that.
But yeah, it looks interesting. It's only in theaters, which I'm not gonna go see that in theaters.
Okay.
I will wait for that one.
Yeah.
Considering I didn't even
Yeah,
see
I
the
can
last
wait.
one.
Definitely can wait.
When's it out?
October. I mean, they're saying
Oh, wow.
October, but a lot of movies
Yeah.
are saying a lot
That's
of dates.
very
so.
soon.
February 2022. Let's go.
Right. We just found out that the next Top Gun got delayed to 2022 as well. So it's like, who knows? But it's funny. This movie was supposed to come out last March of
Fuck.
2020.
Yeah.
So it was already delayed a year and probably going to be delayed even more.
Wow.
I remember this was like one of the first ones that was canceled in theaters where I was like, okay, maybe this severity, like maybe this pandemic is no joke because I think they canceled pretty early. I think they
Yeah.
delayed it and then every other movie just started following suit. But
It was like that and then Fast 9. They delayed that
Mhm.
pretty quickly, a whole year. They're
Yeah.
like, we're not doing it this year, next year, boom.
saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah. I like that Billie Eilish song that goes with this. It's the
Hey.
only Billie Eilish song I really know or like.
I don't think I've ever heard a single one
fun.
of Billie
I'm a
Eilish's song.
bad guy. Boo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. That's the only other one. She seems
I like
cool.
her. She's cool. She's tight.
She seems cool. Yeah, no, I don't listen to much of her music. Couple things here and there. But that's that. All right, moving on. Our next one. You guys know who Megan Fox is. I think like most people in the world know who Megan Fox is.
Yeah.
I've seen her in a couple
But do you
things.
guys know what the Expendables movie franchise is? Like,
God, I wish I did.
Unfortunately.
I've never seen any of them, but they look pretty funny in a ridiculous
I
way.
saw the first one's okay.
I've
Oh my
seen
God.
all of them mostly because
wow.
my father is the giant He's the biggest
Okay.
like 80s
Yeah, I
action
can see
hero
that.
fan, like Schwarzenegger, Stallone, like that's straight up his alley. So I've seen all of them with him. The third one's the best, but the first two they're pretty bad. I'm not gonna
I mean, it's like
lie.
a campy kind of bad. Like it's funny,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
exactly. They are what they are,
hmm
and I think they want to be taken a little more serious, but it's hard
oh,
to because they're
Ooh,
pretty
I don't
badly
know.
written.
Stay in your lane, guys.
that's what I say.
Yeah.
Don't be taken seriously, please.
But Megan Fox, we found out, has joined the cast of this,
Okay.
along with the headline was Megan Fox, but you see another little headline that Mr. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, has also joined the cast.
Let's go. Wow.
That's gonna be crazy.
I might see that one. That might be the first Expendables movie I watch.
First one.
Yo,
Yeah, I don't know what to take of that.
let's not sleep on 50 Cent. My man dropped like 100 pounds for a movie about cancer that nobody fucking watched. That man is the method actor of the century, and I will
That's
die on
very
that fucking hill. That dude is dope, and he takes this shit seriously. So he's about that. He might not act around circles around anybody, but he's gonna try his best, and I can appreciate
He's
it.
gonna
He's
try
gonna
really
try
hard.
his darndest.
He's gonna try
his
real
best.
Try
hard.
really, really hard.
And that's all you can ask of him, right? Because Beyonce doesn't try
Yeah.
hard, so at least Curtis
Yeah.
Jackson might give it
That's
an A
fair.
plus.
That's very fair. And also Tony Jaa. I don't know if you guys know who Tony Jaa is. He's a pretty big martial artist,
Mm.
an actual martial artist. So maybe you'll actually get like some cool stuff in there. He was also the last person that we found out was also joining it. But yeah, I'll see it whenever it comes out. I didn't know that they were making another one, but
Sure.
sure.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
They'll get Schwarzenegger back. He'll say all the catchphrases. It'll be
Yeah.
the same thing.
That's the
again,
most
but-
interesting sounding Expendables I've heard so far.
Yeah.
I would like another scene. There was a really cool scene, I think, in the first or second one where it's like him and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis and Stallone and maybe one other guy, but like they all just kind of have this like, pissing match between the three of them because they were all like the big action stars of the 80s. So like that was one cool moment in the Expendables. But other than that, it's a very ironic series because like the whole plot of the second one is they get mad that one of them like dies, and then it's like, but your whole name is the Expendables, and only one of you is like,
It makes no sense.
it's so ridiculous.
Bruce Willis is definitely not coming back because him and Stallone have beef, and so
shit,
he's never
snap.
coming back. He wasn't in the third one, mostly because Bruce Willis wanted $4 million for 3 days of work. Or no, sorry, $4 million
I mean, me too,
for 4
man.
days of work.
Me too.
And they were
Bruce.
only going to give him $3 million for
Yeah,
those
I'd
4
walk.
days of work.
Oh,
and
no.
his deal is, I get $1 million a day, or I don't do it. So Stallone said, "Get the fuck out."
Golly.
Oh my gosh.
He's at that level.
So yeah, they got
Wow.
beef. So
yeah.
it's kind of hilarious. I'm like, wow, rich people will be
Trip.
all right. Whatever.
Now you have $0 million for like, come on, bro. Like,
Still a millionaire.
and take
Yeah,
the
right.
3 and call
You
it a
don't
day,
care.
bro.
You don't
Take the loss.
I've seen you do worse movies, Bruce Willis. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Man.
Garbage.
All right. Last, China is going to limit the amount of hours that minors under 18 can play games to 3 hours a week. They can play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and also holiday hours as well. But 3
Wow.
hours a week, they get an hour a day
For
on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
just those 3
Ridiculous.
days. Oh, man. So can they play
Yeah.
3 hours all in one day, or is it like 1 hour a day?
I'm pretty sure it's 1 hour a day.
The way I read it was
Holy
1
cow.
hour a day, and it's mainly
yeah, between 8 and 9.
discussing online games. So I don't know if they have that same kind of issue with
Oh,
not
true,
online
true.
games. Like if you can't play any video games, like shit, I guess I can't play God of War because I waste 3 hours on fucking Fortnite. Like I don't know how
Right.
that works.
It probably is just
Mm.
online. Because how could you manage?
I mean, they've said it's online, but that's the biggest question: is like, are they going to limit it to online games? They've said that they've said it's online, but who knows? But that's crazy. That's crazy.
Once again, China is doing the China thing, where it is saying that gaming is an addiction, and they say it is akin to
Mhm.
opium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're saying they're
Yep.
using this to fight gaming addiction in the
Dang.
youth of China.
Well, you know what happened last time they tried to say no to drugs and opium? The Royal Navy
Oh.
showed up on their shoulders
Oh boy.
in the
Oh
opium
boy.
wars. So maybe England's going to get involved and land a naval invasion
We'll get those esports kids.
and
Wow.
just let the kids play all the games they want.
I mean,
The
yeah.
war on video games.
War
That's
on-
I
interesting.
mean, China's already got a history with games and not a great
Mhm.
history, I would imagine, with,
Oh,
with
okay.
gamers and stuff.
Yet somehow
So-
own most of the games that we
Or
play.
like, a lot of human rights things, personal freedoms,
Yeah.
If China hears this, we gonna piss them off, but whatever.
Yeah, guys, we're officially canceled in China. Okay, we're
Yeah,
canceled.
Yeah.
We're sorry, fans.
We're like
Blacklisted.
we're the new John Cena.
I'm not gonna be
have.
Blizzard Entertainment in this space. What they're doing is wrong, and I wholeheartedly believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. I did want to pose a question though. If that were to happen, what would you do with those 3 hours?
Which games would I play?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is
Would I
a good
play?
question.
Yeah, what would the games be?
Zelda.
Shit, what do I play for 3 hours now?
That's fair.
Yeah, probably just more story-based games. I rarely play online stuff, so
Yeah.
I probably only play like 3 hours a week right now. But as a kid, I was playing like a lot though.
Right, because considering this is for everyone under 18.
True.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I only really need like 15 minutes to play like a few games of Rocket League, so maybe I'll be okay with it.
I knew he was gonna bring up Rocket League. Fucking goddamn it!
Oh my god.
Anytime my Xbox goes on, I'm playing at least one game, so I can't.
So,
Oh
you know,
my
I
God.
could catch a couple games on Friday. No big deal.
I feel like you'd
Yeah.
have the hardest time with that, Oscar, having to 100% every game you pick up. You wouldn't get
Yeah.
anywhere.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Maybe that'd
yeah,
be
if I
good
were,
for you.
like-
You should move to
Yeah.
China.
It-
You'd be
Then
like,
you
Probably
wouldn't play
would.
fucking Assassin's Creed anymore. That'd be good.
That's
That'd be
a
good for you.
That's fair. That's a good point. It would take me. It already takes me a year to beat those games, anyways. It would take me 10 years now instead.
not supposed
Then
to
I would
either.
play nothing else for a decade.
Oh man, that's funny.
All right. Unless anyone else has anything else to say about that, that's it. That's all the news for the week. It was a bit of a short week.
just a little news.
So yeah, you guys ready to move on to our next
Yeah.
segment?
Main topic.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, guys. It is time for us to move on to our main topic of the week. But guys, this Fourtress, this is a really weird one. I don't know what it is, but it's got weirdly specifically 64 bits exactly inside it.
Retro.
It seems to me like we're in the fortress of
Nintendo
64.
64. And 64.
yeah.
I got a Nintendo 64, but oh my god.
Oh man, we're gonna talk about that. There's one commercial specifically we'll talk about. Yes, everyone, we are in the fortress of the Nintendo 64, or the N64, as most people would shorthand call it. And so we're gonna be talking about the console as a whole, in itself, the console, what it looked like, how we felt about it, our fond memories of it, and then also our favorite games of that console generation, because there are many. We will try to get through as many as we can, and but depending on how many we go through, we'll speed round these at the end. So let's get into it. Quick rundown: this console came out in 1996 at the high price of $200.
96. Wow.
1996.
What a year.
Yeah.
It's called the 64 because it's got 64 bits, which was a huge jump from past generation, which was mostly only 32-bit.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty big deal at the time.
Absolutely. That was monumental.
I feel like games that were like coming out on Sony and what was the other one? Was it Sega with Sonic?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
Dreamcast.
yeah,
right?
those games looked pretty good. Like Final Fantasy VII and the Sonic games looked pretty good, and I feel like they look kind of similar to a lot of the 64 games. But I was doing some research, and apparently, like the backgrounds were the big deal, the big like game changer. The backgrounds and the characters were all the same, 64-bit, like high resolution in air quotes.
Yeah, I gotta love when you like hear the old games and it's like, oh my god, look at how many enemies they can spawn. You can have 2 in front of you at one time. Oh my god, it's incredible. Look at these graphics, and it's like Minecraft. Like Aragorn's face is like a block. It's like, oh, this is the most important. This is incredible.
It's crazy to see how far we've come, but I feel like 64 was definitely like a milestone game changer in the video game history.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like at least for me growing up, this was the first console that really introduced the 4-person split screen multiplayer.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Because before that they would only be able to have 2 ports for like the Super Nintendo. So like having 4 people, this was the couch co-op multiplayer console for me and for most people, I would imagine as well.
Hell yeah.
Let's get out of the way. What the fuck were they thinking with this controller? Who's got 3 hands?
I was gonna say, like, it's impressive if you actually ever got 4-player split screen. It's impressive you could fit all 4 controllers in one room, like, 'cause they're so big.
So one thing about Nintendo, I love Nintendo, and they are great about their innovation and some of the things that they do. They do not know how to fucking make a controller. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, they're so bad at it.
I think
they're
the
so bad at it.
GameCube one has got to be my least favorite, I'll say.
That's your least
Ooh.
favorite?
Interesting.
Oh, that's probably my
man,
favorite
it's
Nintendo.
gross.
That's the only
controller.
one that actually feels almost like a controller.
You're
I guess
right.
it feels good, but I never had one, but for the life of me, I can never remember where the hell all those buttons are. There's just
I
The
no
buttons were
symmetry.
weirdly configured
I
on it.
love the
I will
really
give
Yeah.
you that.
awkwardly large A button that it's just like it's almost like a giant
Yes.
hand button that's like, hey, go, and just like smack it. And it's like, why is this button so much bigger than all the other buttons? Like I get that's jump, but like calm down, guys. That's it. It's
I
gosh,
actually was super excited as a kid about the 3 handles for the 64. I didn't really understand it, but I was like, hell yeah, like I'm gonna be like running around. That's like I feel like it was like their first step into like fitness kind of mindset. Like, okay, we're making people move their hands. It's a new dimension. It's like 4D gaming. Soon you're gonna have the smells coming out of the screen. People are moving around.
Right.
It's crazy.
If you move your hand a little bit, you're
I was gonna
fit.
ask you guys how'd you hold it? Because I'm
Yeah,
a small boy even now.
I'd never touched the left side of the controller.
As a grown
ever.
adult, I'm still a small boy. But like when I was a kid, my hands were of course even smaller. So like I had to hold like the middle one with my right hand, and then I held the left one with my left hand, and that's kind of how I had to hold it. So I was never touched the
Whoa.
right
Yeah.
side of the controller. Like the C buttons and
What?
stuff didn't exist for
Interesting.
me.
That's where
You-
A and B are. How'd you do
you mean-
that?
I had to hold
You
it like
didn't-
this.
You didn't touch the left side. The
I either
left
did it
side
that
had the
way,
C buttons,
or I did the left hand on the middle. One of my hands was on the middle
Yeah,
dick.
yeah.
I don't
You-
know what
it's
else to
probably
call it. It was a penis. It was very phallic.
I think everybody's hand was on the penis in the middle, and then your right hand's on the right one. The left side
The
was
right
pretty
ball,
much
yeah.
Yeah,
on
okay.
the right ball. The left one was pretty much obsolete, except for like a few specific games. I remember the Mario 64. You could change the camera angle, which was pretty. I don't think games were like changing camera angles before then.
No,
Mm-mm.
you just had to deal with it.
Yeah, I just had to deal with it. But you could do that in a lot of games, and I think Legend of Zelda had the best. The Ocarina of Time had the best implementation. You could like change your weapon loadout and stuff, or quickly change which one you want to have equipped. But for the most part, it was like just extra buttons. I don't think there were any games where you use the D-pad specifically either.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever used that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Real quick, just because we hit that subject, did y'all ever call it Ocarina or Ocarina?
You know what? I think at one point I pronounced it wrong for most of my life, and I still to this day don't know what's right.
I still
I
don't
think
know
I
what it is.
say ocarina, but I think I used to say ocarina. I'm pretty sure it's ocarina.
I heard Ocarina.
I think it's
all the time.
ocarina.
It's
I say
Ocarina to
ocarina as
me.
well, but then if you think of just like if you break it down phonetically, like without a double consonant after the O, ocarina does make sense. But also,
Right.
I don't know the country
Right.
of origin for the word.
But I know that people get pissy about that
Yeah.
for like no reason. I'm like,
Listen, it's Zelda
Shut up.
64. Fuck off. I don't care.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that I should care about or know, but there's too many
Mm.
things that are more important.
The only people that play an ocarina are
Right.
neckbeards anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I resent that.
Oh, you've insulted
You can,
Alex.
you
Do you
can
have
leave
one?
now. Do I have a neckbeard? No.
No,
Do
an
I have-
ocarina.
did I love that game?
Fortress
though?
divided.
Yes.
Fortress divided. Fortress divided.
We'll
This is
get
a
into that
divided
the
force.
Majora's Mask versus Ocarina of Time debate a little later. But let's get back to this
My God.
goofy controller and the console in
I'm gonna
itself.
fight you, Brian.
I would say that like was this no, because Nintendo's always had the major like the big weird peripherals since like their heyday. They've always had
Yeah.
the weird peripherals. So like all the peripherals with this wasn't anything new.
By peripherals, you mean like extra add-on things for the games?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo was always known for that. Now I think about it, but like this was because like I had a Sega Genesis before this. That was my first console was a Sega Genesis, and then I got an N64. But the Nintendo 64 was the first console where I ever had a peripheral added
Yeah.
onto it. I never
Oh
ever had
man,
to
you
do
didn't
that,
have
and it
Sonic
was
and
the,
Knuckles, the cartridge that you put the cartridge in the cartridge, and you got a double cartridge. Oh,
No.
Whoa, that
No.
sounds cool.
Wait, we gotta talk about that later.
No.
That's fine.
The only Sonic game I had was Sonic 2, though. So I
That is
stopped
the
at
best
Sonic
Sonic,
2.
to be fair. But
I stopped at the peak.
But no, like Nintendo's always been kind of like goofy with that stuff, right? Like the 3-prong controller, the Trident controller, and like just all the generations since then, except the GameCube for some reason. Even the GameCube, that they're like, we're just going to do really small discs. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Sony and Microsoft and all the
Right.
other ones were like they're playing like American football, just like we're in here in the gridiron, like doing conventional things with our controllers. And then you look over and Nintendo's doing like interpretive dance. Like we're not even going to play your sport. Like,
and that's what works
your
for 'em.
sport's
I love
beneath
it.
us. Like we're going to be over here making our own weird
Yeah.
things, and this one's not even going to have like the Wii is just like you're going to have to hold it in 2 separate hands with the cord over here. Like
Right.
it's I feel like they've always been kind of like innovative like that, or creative. So
Right.
I
mean, and
respect
it's
them.
worked for
Yeah,
them.
I
absolutely.
respect them for not chasing after the competition.
No, absolutely.
They're setting their own market.
Let's talk about that Z button though.
The what? The Z button?
That Z button, that button on the fucking back.
Oh,
That was the first
yeah.
controller to ever do that. And now that's a thing that's actually
That's
kind
true.
of
That's right.
prevalent. It was a big thing in a lot of gaming, competitive gaming. And I wonder if that was kind of like a precursor to those kind of things, because people for PlayStation 4 especially were like, really like, when are we going to get like a paddle or something on the back so that you can still push buttons and do things while also pressing this button? And it's like, Nintendo had that shit already. Like you had to hold Z in Mario 64 while you do something else in order for him to do like backflips and stuff. Like, and that was a thing that hadn't like no other controller does that, because you can't press A and B at the same time very easily. So it's like ergonomically very intuitive in a weird way.
But what about PlayStation? The first PlayStation, did that have shoulder?
So it had
buttons?
shoulder buttons, but the Z button was a back button.
Oh,
So that's
I guess that's different.
yeah, it's a different feeling when it comes to, I guess, pushing buttons at the same time kind of thing. Like you can.
Well, it's also because like with the Sony controller, no one actually holds that controller the way it's designed to be held. Like no one puts both two fingers on the top of the shoulders.
true.
They always rest just one and put the other one on the back. So it so it defeated the purpose. So yeah, no, you might be right, Brian, about the whole that back paddle being the very first of its kind in a way.
That's really interesting.
I never thought
C buttons
about
were
that.
dumb though.
Yeah.
It makes me think like we definitely do hold controllers very inefficiently. Like
I mean, that's kind of the thing though. As a human, we only really have 3 good fingers, and the rest of them just kind of hang out. You know what I mean? Like, so they're all kind of pretty weak. You know what I mean? Unless you play guitar or like some kind of instrument or something. Like your pinky's probably not able to do too much. It's not very efficient at pushing a button unless you're used to pushing buttons. So we still got to work on it.
I will say though that was the worst analog stick I think ever created. It's awful.
It needs a guard.
Awful just to move, because it wasn't a clean circular shape. It was like a hexagon in the middle of it. And then also like in Mario Party mini games where you had to rub your palm. Everyone knows that palm rubbing
go
where you
for the
just
palm. Bruises and all.
Oh god, like that was the worst fucking.
I used to burn through controllers like nothing.
I can still hear that. I can still hear that sound, that crank, 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 crank.
Yeah.
Just all that hard plastic hitting it.
Gross.
Digging into your hand.
Yeah.
It's like Nintendo was branding you.
You knew that you were the disrespected one of the friend group when they gave you that controller that had that worn out thumbstick. You knew that they didn't like you because no one else got that. That was the one that your parents wouldn't buy you a new one yet, so you're just sitting there with it. So when you finally got 4 controllers, you're like, that's for the least good friend. We don't want him to have a good one.
That's for the 4th player on Smash.
Yeah.
The loser gets the bad controller.
Just for me personally, my last little tidbit of fond memory of the actual console before we get into game stuff is, man, when them cartridges would like not start when you would turn that thing on, you take that shit out and blow it. Alex, you were saying this earlier. You blow right into the con.
Blow as hard as you can.
I just read an article about that like yesterday. That they claim, and fuck them. I don't give a fuck what science has to do with anything. They claim that doesn't do anything. That never actually fixed the game.
It does.
But I was a Blockbuster aficionado. Like I was a Blockbuster veteran. We were in there every Friday and we got some pizza. So I played a lot of games that were broken as fuck in my life.
Yeah.
And I blew on all those. I had games that just straight didn't work out of the box. But I blew on those games and about 80% of them started working afterwards. So I don't know.
I mean, I've read that it's like the water droplets, like your spit, like, it has like water droplets that would like activate. Like it would stick to like the cartridge, and then that would like it help the connection. I don't know. That's what I read.
Whatever it was, it worked. I don't give a fuck what science says.
That was a whole process. But I remember doing that with the Super Nintendo games too a little bit. But I definitely had more memories of 64. So I definitely did that a lot more often with that one.
And like whenever you would do that and you'd put it in there, you'd like hit it like extra hard, give it that smashing it into the console at the top.
Oh, you knew someone was a real gamer.
And then you hit that switch.
If the console connection was like loose, like so you could pull it out really easily, the cartridge, you're like, man, these people, they gaming over here. Because I can just it falls out. It's easy.
No, but yeah. No, that was a fun memory of all that. I think we should now segue into, man, they had a lot of good games on this console.
So many. I actually looked it up, and they had, I think, through the lifespan, I think it was like 600 games
Jeez.
for Nintendo 64. But their competitors, like PlayStation, I think had 1,000. It was either 1,000 and some change or 700 and some change, and Sega also had either 1,000 or 700. But so they did like a lot less numbers, but they had more critically acclaimed games than any of their other
And
competitors.
that's the thing
so.
about Nintendo is their big thing is they have a lot of first party games, and they really they have not let any of those IPs go under. They love to keep
Some
pushing
would
out those
say
kinds of
to their
games.
detriment.
But it
Just
makes
recycling.
it's that kind of thing. Like especially when Rare existed. Rare, I mean, I guess it exists again, and that's a whole thing. But whatever. But when Rare was like in there, like their top level, Rare was putting out banger after banger of a video game. It seemed like every few months, and it was like, how are these so good at just making games that are fun to play?
Right.
And that really hit hard with N64, and I think that's why it's definitely one of the top 3 consoles of all time for sure.
Oh, for real?
I think I think in general, I think that's just like fact at this point.
Totally
I would say PS2 is probably number 1 for a lot of people, or just kind of considered in general, because that was another one that had a bunch of games that were just really considered high rating. And then
it is kind of hard to like rank the current / this past generation of consoles because it feels weird. It doesn't feel. I guess there's no nostalgia there, so it's a little different. But yeah, I'd have to think about it. Yeah, N64
nostalgia is a
be,
huge
at least in my top 5
factor, I suppose. But yeah, I think top 3, top 1, Nintendo 64 for sure.
Yeah. And like Nintendo, like they've always stayed with what to me makes video games great is like, split screen stuff, like everybody in the same room, right? Like video games have gotten so far away from that now where it's like you literally can't play like a cooperative game on the same screen. You both have to have a different console. But like Nintendo stayed true to that throughout all their generations. I feel like the N64 is where that started, like everybody just kind of crowded around one TV, playing something all together. That's what video games should be all about.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, cause I have some of my fondest memories of friends getting together in a room, and everyone brings, because I didn't know anyone who had actually 4 controllers. So whoever's house you went to, you had to bring your controller with you, so you knew that, because then you'd have the 4 and you'd get set up and you'd ready to go.
Got like a little holster. You got like a little holster for it, like.
Everyone was writing their names on everything in Sharpie pen when the N64 was a thing, on the cartridges, on their controllers. Just everything just had like, I used to hate going and buying a game from like EB Games before GameStop bought them, and it just has some fucking little Timmy's name on it. Like when you buy the game, it's like
Toy Story.
Yeah, but there's nothing was cooler than wrapping the controller like thing in an X, messing up the connection so bad. But no one cared because you were 8. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, how would you wrap the N64 controller? Would you do like back and forth around the middle one?
I used to do it in an X around the middle. That's what I used to do.
Yeah, if you didn't do the X and you did like just 2 lines on each side, you were doing it wrong.
You're a psychopath.
But I guess since we're on the subject of like multiplayer and couch co-op stuff, one of the, if not, this is up for debate, one of the biggest, I would say, N64 games is Smash. It's Super Smash Brothers, the original.
Oh
Super Smash
yeah,
Brothers.
baby.
The biggest.
A game that I could pick up to play to this day and have a ball with it.
For sure.
Like in the what, they haven't even changed the formula much. Like going forward, all they've done is like improve the graphics, add characters, and like add like maybe a few things, like more items and stuff. But the core mechanics have stayed the same, which is incredible.
Yeah. I think they've added one special move for every character. There's like that side B, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. The whole mechanic and idea is very simple, very much the same.
Yeah, and what a ridiculous idea to come up with. Like, do you guys remember that this is the only commercial I remember for N64, and it's that Smash commercial where you see it's like Pikachu, Mario, is it Yoshi and someone else?
Probably
I remember,
Donkey
and they're
Kong.
running through a field, and it's like Happy Go Lucky, and then they start beating the shit out of each other.
I do not remember that.
You don't remember that? Oh, it's burned in my. It lives in my head rent free for sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember
one
being
of the
super
best.
hyped before it came out, but I don't remember like the ads for it.
Oh,
at
they're
all.
so good.
Oh my god, that's the only N64 ad I remember, and I was like, I gotta bring this up because that was
hilarious.
Yeah, burned it to my brain.
But yeah, the thought of bringing a bunch of random characters together, it reminds you. It gives that same kind of nostalgia feeling of when you would watch like Scooby Doo. And then, like, they'd bring, like, other universe characters in there that aren't from Scooby-Doo. And you'd be like, oh,
like
shit.
The Flintstones.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like those kind of, like, those matchup kind of episodes. It kind of gave me that feeling of, like, all my favorite characters from all my favorite games are in one game fighting each other. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Battle Royale. Like, that kind of stuff. It was super cool.
They were the Avengers before the Avengers were the Avengers. The MCU.
Got them.
Where did the MCU get their inspiration? N64.
I also thought it was cool that in that game specifically, you could play all your favorite characters, but you could play them like you could play Pikachu and like be as Pikachu as fuck, like he is in the TV show. Like in the other video games, you throw Pikachu out and you're like, okay, which attack should I use? Like, should I tackle or thunderbolt? Like that's cool, but you're not like you don't feel like you're
Right.
Pikachu.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And same, I mean, it was just really cool to like dive into a character and just really feel like you are that specific
Yeah.
character.
And I think that's a good point,
Yeah.
exactly, because I think a lot of those characters still kept their feel of like, this feels like I'm playing Pikachu. This feels like I'm playing characters. And it's like, on an N64 game, you'd expect all the characters to play exactly the same because it's an N64 game,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Mhm.
No, like, Captain Falcon plays way different than Pikachu does.
Mhm.
The
Uh,
best.
mhm.
The
Absolutely,
absolute
Fox is
best.
the best, but we ain't gonna get into all that. But
Yeah,
that up A.
I don't care. Fox doesn't
Yeah.
have as cool of a catchphrase that started a generation of people screaming Falcon Punch everywhere they went.
Nothing felt worse than that like hit and that like freeze frame for a second before it knocks you off the
Oh.
stage.
Falcon
Oh my god.
punch.
So satisfying.
Yeah. The thing I could never get over how the map like was always like no matter what map it was like so I you know I didn't play it as much as like you guys I don't think but the map always you can always fall off the map and then like people would be kicking your ass like as you're falling out and they would jump back to safety but I'd just be
Oh.
falling out like I'd just fall out without you even hitting me I'd just like fall off and die.
That's a pretty
They're like-
pro move.
They're like Devin do your up attack and then your up B and you'll make it back and then no.
Watching Devin play Super Smash Brothers might be the most infuriating thing on this earth.
Yeah, it's a pretty sad watch. It's a pretty
The
sad
only
watch.
man that was suicidal in a video game is Devin playing Super Smash Brothers.
Oh,
Yeah, and then
definitely.
y'all are sitting there like having airborne fights completely underneath the map. Like it'll go all the way around underneath and then come back up and then survive. And I'm sitting there like, and I just kind of jump once and then I fall off. And
Right.
die.
Here's Devin just walking off the edge of the map by himself. Nothing of danger in his path. And he's like, I think I'm ready to die. I'm down for it.
I think that's a good example of this is one of those games that like we played this in college,
Mhm.
like 20 years after that game came
Yeah.
out or whatever.
Yeah, the same version. I think I brought my my 64 with me. I had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we hooked it up and played it and had a ball.
Listen.
And like that game is it's
I
just
competed
so
in
good.
an
Oh,
N64
timeless.
Super Smash Brothers tournament
Oh,
in
baby.
like 2019 before we moved to
Mhm.
Atlanta. Yeah, I actually competed
Oh,
in a tournament
shit.
at like a barcade or something. And I got second place actually. There was this one
Nice,
dude
nice.
Nice.
that you can tell he was the kind of guy
Nice.
that never stopped playing that game. I'm pretty sure this
Yeah.
man has been
Yeah.
playing that game since he was in diapers every day. And he was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a lifestyle.
Dude, in college, it was definitely like the clout game. Like you come in and every, like, you know how like cool somebody is if they, you know, like knew how to play Smash really
They're
well.
playing Smash.
Like it definitely like established like a tier system of like authority in
Right.
in dorm rooms
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, okay, like you alpha other
Cool
people by
points.
playing it well, or
Right.
in my case,
I would
by
say
losing.
my one fond memory of Smash that I wrote down in my notes was I never unlocked those secret characters until like I think in 2013
Oh, no.
after we played it in college. Like,
Oh,
yo, I'm
shit.
gonna go boot up my game and unlock the rest of those characters, and I fucking did it. It took me like 20 minutes, but I did it.
It took me a while as a kid, but I think at one point I lost my original copy. I think I was like one character. I think I didn't have Luigi or someone. And then a friend in high school gave me his copy, and I was like, "Oh, word! I got all the characters now."
Yeah, that was one of those things that kind of goes back to that nostalgia of just like you had to find there was no real like the internet existed, but it wasn't great.
Mhm.
And like so I only found out because I had a friend down the street that was like a super nerd. Like he was really into video games. So he subscribed to Nintendo Power. So he had the Nintendo Power magazines and it told you how to unlock all the characters and he let me borrow it and showed me how to do it. And that's how I unlocked
Oh,
the
wow.
characters. If it wasn't for him, I probably never would have known to do that shit. Cause like I didn't play the mini
Right,
games.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I played the 4-player
Yeah.
co-op and that's it.
Yo,
Like,
yeah.
Like think about back then though, people actually had to like the trial and error, all of that stuff. Like unless like you know one of the
Yeah.
developers like let loose to some like a friend of a friend, but even then it's word of mouth, like passing you know person to person, like just crazy. But I feel like most of it was probably just people doing trial and error and just like you know sitting there for hours. Like okay, if I do left up down B A B A, you know on the lock screen or like on the home screen or something. Okay, maybe something will happen.
mhm.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
People crazy.
Yeah.
Those secrets, man.
Yeah, so many secrets throughout a lot of these games that we'll try to get through. Next, our next, just keeping with the multiplayer thing, but in a completely different type of multiplayer that was also very revolutionary. GoldenEye, man, 007.
Legendary.
I think that might have been my first first person shooter I think I ever played. Now
It's
that I think
probably
about
a
it,
lot of
I
people's,
gotta
Oh
yeah.
talk
yeah,
about that.
It was one of the first
definitely.
3D shooters. Like,
I never beat that game though.
Really?
Is the funny thing, like the
No.
actual single player. No, because I didn't get that game for that. I was like split screen. Let's fucking go all the time. Absolutely.
I actually didn't own that game. So in high school, someone gave me a bunch of his copies of different 64 games, but I don't think that was included. So I don't think I ever owned that game because as a kid, it was like rated teen
Mhm.
or maybe mature because
Mature,
it had
yeah.
some blood in there, you
Yeah.
know. So my
Probably.
parents were like, "You can't have that, Alex." But
Yeah.
you know, all my friends in the neighborhood had it, so I played the multiplayer.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I never owned it.
Neither did
Dude.
I.
It's very
Yeah.
I
sad.
remember that, trying to have to like convince your parents that like, oh, it's not that violent. Like, it's okay. I can handle it. Like,
I'm just murdering all of my friends.
You guys had better
Oh,
parents
man.
than I did because they sure did. Would just get me that shit. They didn't care at all. But yeah, no, I also didn't have that game at all. But I played that game every single day, and I played it every single day because that
Ugh.
became a staple of like my friendship with my friends down the street. There was this one kid down the
Totally.
street named Jimmy that he was the gamer guy that had the Nintendo Power and all that stuff. And we would all, like you said, pack our little backpacks with N64 controllers, wired up in an X, and we go walk over to Jimmy's house. He was like a couple blocks away. And then we would just play for hours, just golden eyes, to the point where like his contacts would like dry out because we were just staring at that stupid
no.
tube TV that's like 3 pixels for just
Yeah.
hours on end. And
Sitting as close as possible.
we'd be skipping dinner and stuff just so we can just shoot at each other in that 4-player co-op. And
Right.
we had 5 friends. That was the biggest thing I remember. So it was always odd man out. So if you
Oh,
you were
no.
4th place,
Yeah.
sorry, bro, you got to drop the sticks.
Yeah.
So you better be
That's
good.
good, though.
You gotta swap
Keeps
it.
you tight, man. It keeps
You
you.
gotta
It
be
keeps
good.
you good. You know.
Yeah, you better be good to stay on those
Relegation.
sticks because if not, sorry, bro.
And how about that 4-player split screen? You could totally just like look at somebody else's little
Yeah.
screen
Right.
and figure out where they're hiding.
And that was the thing.
No
Jimmy, of
screen
course,
peeking.
he had the game, so he knew all the maps. So he was just demolishing us. That man never. I don't think even in the whole year we played that game, I don't think that man ever had to stop it. He never had to drop the sticks. Not one time. Like, ridiculous.
I just
but it
remember
was
my favorite level being the one with the bathroom in it, and just hiding in the little vent at the very top.
listen, man.
Oh
and then
man.
there would just be a free for all fight in the bathroom.
You
at
just
some
had
point.
unspoken rules. Like you don't pick odd job. You pick odd job, you're a piece of shit.
Nope, no.
You gotta
odd
leave.
job.
You can't be in my house anymore.
I was a big fan. I was a big fan of picking odd job when I was like
You
having
would be.
when I was having a losing streak. I'd be like, I need a good win, like odd job. It's a surefire.
What a funny thing to put in to leave in that game. They're like, fuck it.
Because the game normally auto aims.
Sure, he's not the same size as
And the only way you
anyone
can hit odd job is you have to use the C buttons, and the C buttons suck. So
Yep.
no one wants to.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
God.
That makes sense.
Awful.
I didn't really think
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, because there was only one analog stick for a first person shooter. That's,
So if you wanted to move the
wow.
actual like the reticle, you had to like stop and then hit like the C buttons, I believe.
That game is
Either
not
that or you hold like
playable
one of the
now.
left buttons, either left or
Oh.
right button, and then it like stops and aims that you can aim.
oh yeah, and then you
But
can
it feels
aim.
It's
goofy as hell.
fucking
awful.
Oh, it's awful.
Wow.
It's
Oh,
not playable
that's
anymore.
hilarious.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
funny.
rough game to play now.
But that chop noise.
I imagine that's how the generation above us was like when they would play with games with us as kids, and then the next console came and they're like, nah, the right analog stick. Those 2 analog sticks, I can't handle it. It's like the reverse for
Mhm,
us.
mhm.
We can't handle just the one analog stick.
I told you
anymore.
Yeah,
when
it's
when the
ruined.
N64 came out, my dad was like, I can't play video games anymore. That 3D made him motion sick. He's like, nah, this
Mhm.
sucks.
no.
I'm not doing this anymore.
With the 64.
Yeah, with the 64. I think we tried to play like
Oh,
Super
wow.
Mario 64 or something like that. And he was like, I'm gonna be sick. We can't play this. I'm like, but Dad, you helped me
Wow.
beat Sonic. What?
When the better that VR gets, like that's going to be us. Like the kids nowadays, they'll be doing VR and stuff, and we'll get on there like after 10 minutes, we'll be like, I got a headache. Like I can't handle all this motion.
Yeah,
Right, that's
you're
me
right.
already.
I actually went to there was like a VR demo thing at at Six Flags, the amusement park I went to a long time ago. I was like 15 years old, 14, 15 years old or something. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just hang out in here for like 2 hours, like screw all the
Oh.
rides. I'm just going to like do this VR stuff because it was like brand new for me. I hadn't really experienced that before. And it was cool as shit. They had the whole visor thing. I had like a gun and you're like walking around in place and stuff. And after like 30 minutes, I thought I was going to throw up. But I toughed it out. I was like, I just really need to explore this. This is really cool. I feel
Oh,
like I'm going to
God.
die, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I think I've tried the Oculus since then, and I don't have the same sensation. So I don't know.
That's
Maybe I'm
funny.
evolving.
I am not evolving because my friends have the VR and I get super sick every single time.
Yeah.
In keeping with these multiplayer split screen games, we're gonna try to knock out a couple of these. Two kart racers.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, it's Mario Kart 64 and
Wait,
Diddy Kong
what game?
Racing. I was definitely a Diddy Kong Racing person
Yeah, baby.
instead of a
Diddy
Mario.
Kong for sure.
Oh.
Diddy Kong Racing is the superior racer because it has
Facts.
2-player co-op. And I think that's dope for the story mode. And that's awesome.
Well,
and that
you're
gave
right.
me and my friend
You're
just
right.
a really great time of just being able to like, we're not facing each other. We don't want to kill each other. You know what I mean? We get to
Yeah.
have fun together. And I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
More games should
Yeah.
have 2-player co-op.
Yeah, I forgot because like wouldn't you like collect balloons
Uh-huh,
and stuff or something like that in that co-op, like the little arena ones? Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about those.
I like the fact that you had different like vehicles. You had the car, you had the hovercraft, which was pretty lame, and then you had the plane, which was amazing. And the fact that you could just switch them out for different races was really ingenious.
I will
I think.
say Diddy Kong was fucking hard.
It gets up there.
Like beating the
Yeah.
bosses
Boss
was
fights
fucking.
in
I
a
don't think I
racing
ever
game?
finished beating them. They were too hard for me as a kid. I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm just
I
gonna play
remember
the fun
it was
stuff.
really intense. You go into space at one point. There's like a lighthouse that turns into a spaceship, and there's like a drumstick on the ground, and you run him over, and he turns into a character you can play. That game was trippy as hell.
I don't even remember that. That's in the deepest confines of
It
my
was
mind right
nuts.
there. Devin's looking over here. He's
Yeah,
like,
it
I don't
was-
know
it was
what the hell
real.
you guys are talking about right now.
I'm serious. Check it out.
It was a good kart race.
I do have an
Yeah.
interesting story about that because, Conquer was in that game, of course. But that game came out before Conquer's Bad Fur Day came out. And you notice that in that game, Conquer is very sweet. He has this little upbeat voice of like, hey guys, I'm Conquer. Just like, really, he's just a standard ass character. No one knew
Cute
why.
little squirrel.
And then they made Conquer's Bad Fur Day. And you're like, what the fuck? That's not the Conquer I know from Diddy Kong Racing.
That's right.
And
I
that's
forgot.
because at the time they were
Yeah.
making that, they were going to make Conquer's Bad Fur Day a normal, like cutesy kind of Super Mario type game before they decided to scrap it all and then make that mature ass game. And that's where that Conquer, he only exists in that little tiny world of that Diddy Kong Racing and then also like a Game
Wow.
Boy game where he's like the nice little furry character that collects nuts. And then we got
That's
Conquer's
funny.
Bad Fur Day like, I don't know, 6 months later. And it was just raunchy
That's
and
so
gross. And
Yeah.
That seemed like a weird, like alternate reality game for a long time.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the sole reason I ended up getting Conquer's Bad Fur Day. I think my parents saw me playing that and saw that character and was like, that character's cute. Like, he seems nice. And then they fucked up so bad.
And then later, they walk in on you fighting a giant piece of shit.
It's literally a giant piece of shit.
That's another game I didn't play until high school from a friend that was getting rid of all of his games. And I had a lot of fun with it. You're like bouncing off this flower's tits at one point. I was like, whoa, this is
It's
epic.
an amazing game. And the humor is so, especially as a kid, I didn't understand it. But now that I'm older and replayed it, it's like, it's pretty smart humor. Like, this is pretty good right here.
Definitely not for kids. though.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely not. But yeah, but Mario Kart, I mean, Mario Kart and I guess Diddy Kong Racing too, it's like just another example of Nintendo just nailing like a game formula that's like, easy to pick up, hard to master, but like, just super fun.
Once
Like,
again,
good
another game
multiplayer.
we still play so often. Like, I still play, maybe not Mario Kart
Yeah.
64 so much, but I mean, I still play Mario Kart
Right.
to this day. And I definitely don't play the newest one because I don't have the newest
Yeah.
console, but like, it's a staple.
Here's a question I had
Yeah.
for you guys. What is your Mario Kart strategy? Because I don't know if we've played it but together before.
Chug all the beer
Mario
first.
Kart?
Yeah, so you have to, because you can't drink
Yeah,
and drive. You
I
can't drink
agree.
and drive, so you gotta finish a whole beer during the race. So you can like pull over and do it, or you can like get out front. But I've heard the best strategy for like the big brain people is like just chug it all first, because then you're in last and you can like get the better abilities.
You get the best items.
You get the better items.
It's either
yeah.
chug it all first or chug it all at the finish line right before you
Yep.
cross.
No,
Yeah.
that's too risky. I don't know about that. I would chug it first if I don't think I've played like that before. I usually just I don't recommend this, but I drink and drive when I'm playing Mario Kart.
Oh, he's a cheater. No, guys, we definitely played
Yeah.
it. We played it on my
the,
birthday.
The rules are you can't. You got to like pull over.
Okay, I
We
must
played
have
it
forgotten.
You
before.
can't like be in motion
I
now.
must
Like,
have
you got to like
forgotten.
stop.
I think if I were to play today, I would chug first.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
It is weird how many Nintendo games can be turned into drinking games. in a
Mario
way.
Party is a drinking game. It's super fun. I'll say that right now.
And that in itself could be its own separate topic and episode someday in the future.
Yeah,
but
That's a good one.
man, oh man.
Yeah.
That was great. Let's stick with this real quick, because I think Brian probably has the most to say about this. Party game. Mario Party. They came out with Mario Party, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, in which case right before the podcast, we were talking about they're all the same, right? They're all the same shit. Brian had a different opinion when it came to Mario Party.
So I love Mario Party, even the new ones, even though they're complete fudging bullshit.
Ooh,
I
wow.
do still like, because Mario Party 2. So the reason I prefer Mario Party 2 compared to the other, what is it, like 16 or something ridiculous now? So Mario Party 2 is the best one because it has the least amount of flack. Mario Party 3 Plus is when they started adding things like the dice and the Bowser getting you and then
The
making
bullshit.
you lose stars and all this stuff. So they started adding the randomness. So that's when you start losing the skill.
They didn't have dice in the first.
So
two?
I can't even remember what it was, but it wasn't considered dice when it was that one. But it had some of those things in it, but it had less of that randomness to it that really kind of made you feel bad about it. And Mario Kart started doing something similar to that too, with the way that they started giving you items and stuff where the better you do, the more you can get screwed. And Mario Party used to do, because like, I don't know if you guys have played like the more recent ones. I remember I think the last one I played was on Wii U. Fucking nothing was worse than trying to like, you got 28 stars, you're just destroying everybody, you're feeling good. You get to the end of the game, and then this piece of shit Toad just goes up and is like, hey, we're gonna give the last person 28 stars because fuck you, that's why. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Why? I remember
My
that.
one note for Mario Party was just bullshit. Just random bullshit to fuck you later. Who cares?
The best way to play
Whatever.
that game is just go through the mini games only.
Like imagine winning all the mini games and you still lose the game. Like
right. It makes no sense.
That's my rant.
And yeah, that went back to the whole analog stick and the mini games. And yeah, Mario Party's great, but it is just a bunch of crap. And it's just like whoever's luckiest enough wins at the end.
Yeah. Candyland.
Yep.
That's pretty much all the big multiplayer ones. Although there is one that's in a single player but combo multiplayer that I'll speak to very quickly, and that is Pokemon Stadium. The single player Pokemon Stadium is fine, but most of that gameplay came from those awesome fucking mini games.
Oh yeah, the sushi and stuff.
You would like have to dig with Sand Slash, or like
those
you were like
dope.
a chef with Lickitung and stuff. Those were so much fun to play.
Nothing lives more rent free in my head than that Clefairy song before she makes me remember a 28 piece thing. How the heck do you remember any of that stuff? Clefairy, 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 Clefairy. And I'm like, and it's like up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right, left. I'm 9, Clefairy. What do you what?
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. But the actual core of that game was seeing the Pokemon in 3D, which was really, really cool at the time. And then the other giant thing for me, at least, was the extra little cartridge that you could attach to the back of your N64 controller that would allow you to play a Pokemon Game Boy Color or original Game Boy game in there. So you could finally play Pokemon on a giant screen, quote unquote giant screen, and you could play that with an N64 controller. That was so much fun and so cool.
I never did that, but that does sound like an awesome
That's funny.
idea.
I was on the opposite side. I always did that because I didn't actually own a Game Boy Color when they came out. But my friend was like giving me games and stuff that he didn't want to play anymore, and I didn't have a Game Boy Color, and I used my N64 to do that.
Smart.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But the big thing for me personally, I feel like I have the most memories of N64, and I'm feeling kind of weird about it right now. You guys are really hitting my nostalgia place. But one thing that I loved about Pokemon Stadium is that like that gave you the first taste, like you said, of 3D Pokemon. And I think that's the first place where I was like, I want a Pokemon game in 3D, like a real like Pokemon Blue, Red in 3D. And that was what, 96?
And they never did it for like 15 more years.
Until like 2 years, right?
It took them that.
Yeah, until the Switch one, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I didn't play it because I don't have a Switch.
I would imagine. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The 3D Pokemon was just so cool. And you could actually like see their moves, not on a tiny screen. I was like, so cool. So cool. But yeah, so that's the last little tidbit of our multiplayer. Single player games. All right, Alex, what do you want to go? Do you want to go Mario first, or do you want to hit Zelda
Let's talk
first?
about Mario 64. I think that was one of the first games that came out like with the console. I forget what do you call it when it comes out at the same time, like
bundled?
A console release.
Oh, like the same console release.
Yeah.
Day or whatever.
Oh. That was pretty cool. I
title.
played that a lot. I never beat it, but I played the hell out of that game. It was really deep and really fun. I was never like a Mario fan for real, but that game was really cool.
Yeah.
I
remember you could like jump inside paintings to go into the levels, and I just thought that was really trippy. I miss when games didn't spoon feed you information. They're just kind of like put you in this world and you're just kind of running around exploring everything about the little castle. And then you find all these paintings. And I just remember like brushing up against the wall and the painting moved. And I was like, whoa, what? what is this about? And then I ended up like falling in there somehow. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I miss that.
I'll just say real quick, most of my Nintendo 64 love ended with the multiplayer stuff. I never really
That's fair.
went into Zelda or Mario really. So I played both of them a bit, but never owned them or finished them. So I'm not crazy about them, but I know how revolutionary and fun they are though.
So here's why Mario 64 is one of the best games ever made in life ever.
Hot take.
This game came out for Nintendo 64 and still has one of the most intuitive control schemes of any game of all time. The fun thing about Mario is there's actually a skill gap in how good you can be at Mario 64. That's super weird. It's a first player game. How can you be better than somebody at a first player game? Let me tell you, it has so many different ways you can move the character, jump,
he's trying to sell me
front
something.
flip, back flip, side flip. So you have different ways that you can approach every single map. So like a new player might just kind of walk around and like, do one jump, get to the platform, do another jump. Or you can do a 360 no scope backflip off of something, get up 2 levels, do a slip roll, a slide, and then still do that. And that's all in the same game that you can get that much better at this stupid game where you just collect 120 stars and then punch Bowser in his face. And that's the whole premise of the game. Ridiculous. Crazy. They spent 6 months just on the controls, just making the controls for that game before they even started making levels. They just worked on how to make the controls feel good.
That's cool.
And that's one of the things that I love about, I'm not even a big Mario fan like that. That's what's so funny about it. But it's just like, that's where it's like, I think game feel really became a standard in games because like PlayStation 1 made a lot of games that looked good for its time, but like they often felt really clunky and awkward. They had tank controls for some reason, just really, just gross. This game just feels so smooth to play. And it came out over 20 years ago. Like, that's wild to me that it's still like that high regarded even at this time. Once again, end rant.
Yeah, solid gameplay, man. Solid gameplay. Nintendo is the
Brian's
masters.
rant too.
Speaking of super solid games that are also revolutionary, how about Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time?
I think we might have a small debate on this versus Majora's Mask between Alex and Brian. I feel that's coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my gloves off for this one. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. I actually didn't play. I'm a huge fan of Zelda, but I didn't get very far in Majora's Mask. One, I was a kid and it was very scary, and two, I was a kid and couldn't figure out like there was like this moon that's falling down pretty early on in the game. I didn't realize you could just play the sun song and then the sun would rise. I was just like, oh my God. But I didn't realize that until years later. And I just never opened it back up again. But maybe one day. Because it looks really awesome. And I'm a huge fan of everything else Zelda.
You should.
So.
I think you'd really appreciate it if you did.
But yeah, I loved Ocarina of Time. That's still my favorite game of all time. I haven't played it in a few years, but hits me right in the feels every time. A masterwork of story, gameplay, graphics, music. Oh my God. Level design. It's just so complex, so mature.
The one negative I would say, they added that fucking fairy.
Hey, listen. I'm gonna tell you something that doesn't matter.
But
okay, that's fine, Navi. You can shoo.
Every hero's journey needs like the grandfather Obi-Wan Navi type character to push Link on his journey. So I get it.
But that's what's funny. That brings the kind of divide of Zelda because there's like you had like NES Zelda and stuff like that where it's like it was very open world. You kind of do what you want to do and like whatever happens happens. And then the 3D games came out and they were so handholdy in comparison to all those games. Where it's like it tells you how to do everything in that game for the most part, outside of like, the moon falling on you and crushing your face. But neither here nor there. But it was just such a weird dissonance between that and how it's funny how Zelda has gone back and forth with what it kind of wants to be, but how it's always kind of worked at the same time.
Yeah.
So I always found that interesting.
Yeah. And I didn't play the original Zelda games until they re-released on like Game Boy years later after playing Ocarina. But I always feel like Ocarina was one of the first, maybe not the first, but one of the first big 3D open world games. I know at the first like 3 hours, you're kind of like on rails and you have to go through a specific order of things. But once you're kind of released into Hyrule, you can definitely like explore all you want and kind of talk to whoever you want. There's definitely like a linear story that's still there and you can't do certain things before doing other things. But just the exploration I thought was really groundbreaking at the time.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. And you got to play a cool little instrument.
Oh my gosh, you could rock out
The
with that
one
thing.
use of those C buttons and
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could play the instrument with the C buttons as well as any other item. I forgot about that. Made me want to get one really bad.
So wait, Alex. So
Uh,
Ocarina of Time is still the best Zelda game to you?
Well, that's a tough question. I would say yes because it's the first, but I have a lot more fun playing Breath of the Wild.
Mm.
I think that's a more I have more fun playing it, but I don't know if it's a better game per se. I think they're both like 10 out of 10. But
Right.
because
Right.
Ocarina came first, it
Yeah.
set the groundwork. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
right, right.
You
That makes sense.
can't have the greatness of Mass Effect 2 before Mass Effect 1, even though 2 is more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's fair.
One thing about Majora's Mask specifically that I really enjoyed that I think a lot of people don't even. So it's interesting, and it's one of those things where it's like this came out on N64, a system that came out in what 95, 96. Like that's still just mind-boggling to me, being at 2021 and some of the games and how linear they can be. One thing about Majora's Mask that I can't remember, I don't think it was part of Ocarina of Time, but every NPC in Majora's Mask followed a set of basically daily tasks that they do on a daily basis. Kind of like that was the first like intelligent kind of AI that kind of existed. In that
Oh wow.
you had to like, if you meet someone at 4 p.m., they're going to work right now. So like you can only meet them at 4 p.m. So if it's 5 p.m., they're not working anymore. They went home. And that was like all those characters had different tasks that they were doing throughout the day in this like game that was on this tiny cartridge that can only hold, I don't know, 4 or 5 megabytes of space on it, or I guess maybe 30.
magic
was max.
box.
Yeah. And all this stuff
It's a
was
magic
happening.
box of plastic.
It really was. And it was so interesting like that was a thing that happened this early in time. Really loved it. Loved it a lot. The moon was scary though. I did cry the first time. I will be honest.
That was so fucking scary.
Moving on. We're gonna hit a bit of a speed roundish so we can get through as many of these as possible. I will just quickly say about Pokemon Snap. That game is fun as shit as a kid, finding all the
that
cool
was a good
secrets
one. That was a good one.
and all the different Pokemon. I remember having to punch and push fucking Charmeleon into a pit of lava to get Charizard to pop out and shit. And like that was just so much fun. I remember playing that game for hours and hours.
Also, Charmander turns to Charmeleon if you get Magmar to shoot him in the face. Boom.
Oh, clever.
I tried to play that game on
Yeah,
stream
that's right. There you
blindfolded.
go.
It did not go well.
Blindfolded.
Oh my God.
I want to give myself a challenge. That game's easy as hell.
That's
Oh,
funny as
wow.
shit. Brian, you want to talk about Conkers a little more?
Yeah, real quick speed round. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Super hilarious game. As you guys know, Conker wasn't always supposed to be a bad game. It was supposed to be a good game. And then I can't remember what was the reason why they wanted to make it a bad game. I think they were just like, we don't want to make another fucking Mario. So instead of doing that, they decided to make it really mature and things like that. I was a small child. I said, hey, Mom, can I get this game? And they're like, sure. It's got a squirrel on it, whatever. You can have it. That thing says rated mature right on that box.
Squirrel. That should have been super mature.
I feel like even the EB Games guy was probably like, oh, you guys know this is a mature game. You're probably thinking this is your son. My parents don't care. They live in their life. YOLO. Got me that game. It is one of the funniest. It was like one of the first games that kind of felt the most, I guess, artish to me to show that you can make like humor in the games. Because games are pretty straightforward before that time. But in this game, they had humor, they had timing, there was comedic timing. Comedic timing in a video game is so hard to accomplish just because you see in like things like Borderlands that have to have humor and stuff like that in them, and it's fun. You can miss whole like sections of a joke because you were just running too fast. So in order to maybe to like do that and have that work in a video game is so much harder than getting up and doing stand up on stage. They were the first game to really do it. I feel like loved it.
And it was fully voiced, right?
Fully voiced. Yep.
I don't think there was any bit that was like just text related.
I don't think so. I think you're absolutely right with that. And the characters are memorable and hilarious and really good.
Yeah, I real quick, I also read something when I was looking and taking notes. This was like one of the biggest games for the console because it had real-time shadowing and full in-game facial animation apparently with that game. So it was like one of the ones that was pushing that console to the limit, which was
It's also got
interesting that
poop.
it was that game. Yeah, it's also got.
So
it's also
Conker's
got
Bad
poop.
Fur Day is the Nintendo 64 version of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Heard it here first, folks.
Same game.
Right.
Same game.
I never was a huge Banjo-Kazooie person, real quick. I played it, but that whenever you fell in the water and the shark would come at you, that music was too scary, so I quit. And that witch was too scary as well.
That's something I wish I played. I feel like I would have enjoyed that. I'm not a big platformer game like Mario per se, but I love platform adventure, action adventure type things. So I feel like I would have enjoyed that, but I never played it.
I think you would. It's a collectathon, as many games were in that kind of era of games where it's like platformer means you got to pick up some shit and you got to keep picking up shit until you can get to the next level to pick up some more shit. That's what you do.
Yep.
But it definitely
Yeah.
took a lot from Mario and like the ease of the controls, how the controls felt. It had really cool characters of Banjo and Kazooie. Kazooie's this little girl, I don't know, bird of some sort. And then Banjo is this weird bear that's kind of dopey and whatever. He's real stupid. And then the girl bird is really smart and makes a lot of jokes again. Another one of those games that brought a good humor as well as good gameplay and good feel. Really funny game. It's really cool because you play two characters basically, and those two characters work together as one. And depending on the situation, you have to change. And that was kind of intuitive way they did it. Like I think Kazooie worked a lot with the C buttons and stuff. So sometimes you might need her to like walk up a steep cliff that Banjo's just too fat to do. So then she just comes out the backpack and then just fucking starts trotting away.
Yeah,
and it's just
road running.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. It's a really good game that I would definitely recommend if you want to kind of go back to that era and maybe you missed those games because they're
Right. I would say the one sad thing is that that's with the beginning and the end of that iconic game. It was started with it began and end with that game. Like it died so fast. I was like they came out with Banjo Tooie, but it wasn't as good. And then it was just
they tried to
gone.
make one for Xbox
You never
360,
saw-
but it wasn't good.
like-
Nuts and bolts came out.
It was exactly like it was just
Right.
Like it's sad that one didn't that mascot, that Nintendo mascot didn't live on past that really.
Yeah.
But he's in Smash now, so it's surprised they brought him back. Finally.
He's having a
It took
resurgence like
forever,
Crash
but
Bandicoot,
yeah.
and I can appreciate it. Also, random side note, I did like it was really satisfying when you would pick up these like things. There were these weird aliens called Jinjos, and you pick them up, they go Jinjo, and fucking I remember that for the rest of my life. I haven't played that game literally since it came out, I don't think, and I still remember that. It's so weird.
Yeah, the audio was fun in that game. Like the witch, you'd be talking to me, she's like, like every
It was a
character
voice
just had
actor.
like
that was a thing too. They just always just made weird sounds. So I'd be like,
yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. That's great.
Yeah,
It's
that's
real good.
cool.
I'll say something quick about Donkey Kong 64. That game is amazing.
Oh,
I
love
love
that
that
one.
game so much. Although I did mostly only play that on the Game Boy version of
Oh,
that
no.
game.
Whoa,
was the
they had a
most
Game
Donkey
Boy
Kong I played.
version? Donkey Kong 64?
Yeah, I played
Whoa.
the shit
Oh,
out
you
of
mean
that
Donkey-
game. I'm pretty
Awesome.
sure it was the same exact thing, just on it. But
Really?
yeah.
Not Donkey
That's
Kong
great.
Country? Donkey Kong 64?
Oh no, you're right. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. It was Donkey Kong
Man,
Country.
you're fake as
Yep.
hell.
Nope.
Donkey
You're
Kong
right. You're right.
Country. Man, yeah, Donkey Kong 64 was dope. It was fully 3D. You could like walk around. It was like, man, totally open, amazing game. You could like there's like this whole cast of characters. You could play Diddy Kong, Donkey Kong. There's this girl called
Was it
Tipsy Kong or
Girl
Pixie
Kong? I don't know. There was Uncle
There was like
Uncle
an
Weirdo
old
Kong.
man, and yeah, there's all these cool people that had all these different like superpowers or whatever, and it had a really epic arena style multiplayer where you're like, it was like
right.
007 where you're just like in these different maps, and you have you're like different guns that shoot different versions of nuts, and you're just taking each other out. That was a great game. Oh, and the best thing, the cartridge was fucking yellow.
Yep,
Like,
this is true.
how cool is that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that one thing I
Solid.
did not like about that is if you wanted to complete that game, it's so annoying because you have to get bananas. And every banana is different colored for a different character that you have to use. But in order to change characters,
yeah.
you have to go back to this fucking barrel that's always way too far away, kick that character, walk all the way back, and then pick up like 8 bananas, and then go all the way back, and then change the character again, and then go all the way back, and get 3 more bananas. And that's stupid. Change that if you ever remaster that game. Nintendo, thank you.
That's kind of all. I mean, we missed a couple. I don't know if anyone has anything really quick to say about Star Fox, Bomberman. I wrote a couple. Rampage.
Oh, shit.
Rampage was
Turok
pretty
was
cool.
on there. Like so many great games.
That was a great console.
Yeah.
Great console. Like when I went through the list, there was I was like, oh my god, I forgot about this game and this game. Like,
Yeah.
it just kept popping up. I was like, there really were a lot of hits on this whole console.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future we'll return to this console and talk more about these fun things. Real quick, because I did want to hit this because I thought it was intriguing. If you could pick one game, granted, all Nintendo does is remake these games anyways. But if you could pick one game that should make a comeback as a remake or a remaster, what would you be?
Ooh.
But it can't be like a Smash because obviously they've done that already, or like Mario Party, all the ones they've already made. So I guess anything else that we haven't hit, what would it be?
Are you gonna start? Because I need time.
I'll start. Yeah, I'll start. I will say I would love to see a brand new. What everyone's kind of wanted is that GoldenEye.
Okay.
Just bring GoldenEye back. But I fully aware that it would not feel the same because of so many games that have already
Yeah.
come out.
Would it be what would it be like? Would it be 2 analog sticks? Would it
Yeah, I guess it would just be the biggest thing would be to give it a second
No,
analog
I want it to be
stick.
as
Okay.
clunky as the original. Because if not, it's just a normal first-person shooter. Fuck that. No, I want it to be
Yeah, yeah.
ugly and gross.
Okay. So with that said, Oscar, would it be like just a re-release, like a port, or would it be like a remastered?
I guess with Brian being as clunky, it would just be a port. Yeah.
Okay. That
Maybe
sounds cool to me. That sounds like fun.
tighten up those graphics. Maybe make Pierce Brosnan look like a human being. Whatever. But like,
Yeah, make the graphics look nicer, but make it just as clunky.
Nice. Okay. I can get down with that. I would probably choose Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, like a fully revamped, remastered game. Like not
Like a Final Fantasy VII remake type of feel.
that'd be really cool. Maybe somewhere in between Final Fantasy VII and just a straight port, where it's just like I'm able to play the game on the Switch with improved graphics, improved everything, less clunky, and just making everything like just. Mostly, I just want to be able to play it again because I don't have my 64 anymore. But if it were like remastered and like even better graphically, mostly that would be really.
I'm pretty
stellar.
sure they remade it for the 3DS. I don't know how much they
Yeah,
fixed.
They did.
I don't know how much they fixed of it, but I do think people did like it.
My wife's brother has the 3DS version. It looks a lot better, but it's I don't have a fucking 3DS, so I'm not,
Right, because
Right.
not gonna.
That is
Why?
one thing I would say about Nintendo is that when they remake a remaster game, it's just a port, which is disappointing. I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just that would be my one critique. on it.
Absolutely.
But I'll take it. Just give it to me on Switch, any kind of way. Serve it up. I'll buy it.
Okay.
Brian, what you got?
So I'm gonna hit y'all with the. We didn't talk about this game, but I'm gonna hit y'all with a curveball. I want to see Superman 64 get a revamp.
Fuck off!
I want this. I want to see them. I want him to have a Boba Fett moment where they just bring him into the limelight and just change the story completely,
I thought we could get through this without talking about it.
and just save that game because it deserves to be saved. It didn't have to be that bad.
Not. It does not.
That game was
Oh,
made in like
it's
6
so
months. It was
terrible.
rushed. Apparently, a bunch of people got fired halfway through the game being made,
So-
and that's why it sucks so bad.
I think that I did some research about this like years ago. I was like, "What's the worst game of all time?" And that's what popped up.
Yeah, that and ET.
Does that still hold as the
Yeah.
worst game of all time?
It's yeah. It's do you say up there,
I think
down there,
so,
up
man.
there?
It's
I don't know what this is.
It's hey, give that game a belt.
It is on the mountain
Champion.
of shit, and it is like at least 1 or 2 on the mountain of shit. Apparently, I mean, ET nothing beats ET on that tower because they literally buried that game. It was so bad. But
Yeah, I never played that.
Superman
Man,
64 is up there.
That's funny.
I kept trying
that's
to
funny.
replay it when I was in high school. I was like, maybe now that I'm older, like I can do this. It's just unplayable. You just can't do anything.
It's terrible.
Imagine
It's
a game that's both
terrible.
frustrating and unfun.
Yeah.
All right, Devin, take us home.
One that you guys definitely haven't picked yet. I would say Pokemon Snap. Bring it back, man. Like you could do so many more things in the Instagram era with a
Oh,
with a
wow.
camera-based
Filters?
game.
Now, Devin,
So I think they could
are you aware?
update it, add some new mechanics, things like that.
Are you aware that is indeed happening?
Oh, is it really?
I do like your whole Instagram pitch towards it, though.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did some shit like that.
Pokemon Go, but
That's pretty
better
funny.
and not real.
Yeah, we did it. Thank you. That was N64. I know we missed a lot, so if we missed anything you wanted us to really talk about, I know we missed Perfect Dark, which that's getting a remake as well. That's also a great game. But if you want us, if we missed anything, or you just want to yell at us, feel free to send us a message or email us, and you'll get all that info at the end of the episode. Yeah, you guys all good with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sick.
Sweet. All right, let's move on to our final segment of the week, guys, which we'd like to call Free for All. Title pending. Yeah. So, listeners, in this segment, it's a bit of a whatever happens. We could just recommend something. Someone could go on a rant. We could pose a cool, interesting, topical question. Yeah, anything kind of goes in this segment, and then any surprises could happen and occur. So, it's free for all. let's let us begin. I'll go first. I just this thought just came into my brain. I wrote it down on my phone. Um,
Okay.
and I wanted to ask because I thought it'd be kind of funny. Why is it in every single like media or like video game, when you have aliens involved, why is that their blood is always the same color as their skin? Like if you got a blue
Hmm.
alien, they bleed blue.
Is that
Oh,
true?
And if
Yeah.
you got a green alien, they bleed green. Like we bleed red. We don't bleed our skin colors.
what references do you have? What games are you thinking of? It's hard to wrap my mind
Oh,
around
like
that.
for instance, like in Gamora in Guardians. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure she bleeds green.
Oh, snap!
Like when you see her, spoilers, she dies in Infinity War. When she
What?
falls off that crack, you see there's a big
Wait,
green
what?
blood puddle behind her head on the ground,
Ew.
and
That's
that's
weird.
that's kind of where the thought came. I was like, why is that? Because I don't, yeah. And I
Huh.
was just trying to think of other references. Like the Predator, he bleeds green, but he's an alien, and he's kind of greenly tinted, but he's not green. But like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Someone else is blue and bleeds blue. I'm pretty sure it might be like Nebula also in Guardians as well.
The fucking
Um,
cyborg? She bleeds?
She's like an android.
yeah, she's like an android. She got bits
Yeah,
and
I gotta
pieces.
rewatch those
But like,
movies.
I was trying to remember in Mass Effect, does Liara bleed blue?
She never gets hit, so she's that good.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like
I can't remember what the Asari bleed.
I don't know.
I was just like, why is that? Because like we don't do that. I was like, why don't like it'd be interesting if like Gamora bleeds and she just bled like purple or like
Yeah.
yellow or some
Oh,
shit
yeah.
or gold.
Yellow blood? You never see that.
I feel like aliens have like lime green blood a lot. Like,
Yeah, green
You
or
know?
blue, I feel like.
no, I'm thinking of like Starship Troopers. Like all those bugs had like green blood, like light green blood, and it was just.
I guess
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
true.
like it's icky and foreign.
Yeah, but your thing just
Yeah.
make it always blue or something. Just make it always something that's not red. Be fine. But it's interesting that they choose that color.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what's equally crazy? Maybe crazier? Fun fact, octopuses bleed blue.
I
I
didn't know
think I
that.
did know
Octopi?
that.
Maybe it's octopi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either
Octopi.
works. They both are
Either-
correct.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got blue blood. Like humans have blue and red blood, but when it hits the oxygen,
Right.
your blue blood
turns red, yeah.
red. But octopuses,
That's actually not true.
it's all blue.
By the way,
Wait,
let's,
is it?
let's
So
not
wait,
let's
what?
not send that to. That is incorrect. I
Actually-
did learn about that. Your blood does not oxidize in that way. It does not turn. It's not blue in your body. It's always red. Your veins just tend to be blue tinted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I learned that recently. We're about
That's
to we're about
cool.
to lead our listeners astray. I will not have this.
I was about to say I
Well,
do remember
I'm
that.
pretty sure octopuses are still aliens, in fact, because they have blue
Yes.
blood.
I do agree with
Probably
that.
they're
You heard it here
Pretty
I
first.
was gonna
damn
ask
weird.
if our veins are transparent. Then they're just like without the blood in them. But I guess not.
Yeah, I
Based
guess
on what
not.
Brian
Yeah.
just said. So,
Very
who
sciencey.
knows?
Very science question. Way to go, Oscar.
Yeah.
Also, the
Yeah.
sorry they bleed. They were supposed to bleed red canonically, but in Mass Effect 2 they fucked up and made it purple.
See, they're blue and
Oh.
purple. Like just make
That
it
was an
weird. Make
accident.
it different. Make it
Wow.
weird. We don't bleed our skin color.
I want to see some yellow blood up in here. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's
Yellow
like
Maybe
blood.
some weird like ectoplasm or some shit.
Gross.
I don't know. I was just like, that was such a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got one that's a lot less scientific. We all know that I finally finished a lot of games, and a while back I picked up on PlayStation the Final Fantasy VII remake,
Ooh.
which I've been having fun with. But part of like the traditionalist in me was like, I never played Final Fantasy VII growing up as a kid because I didn't have a PlayStation. I was like a Nintendo guy, and so I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna finally download it. I found a copy for the Switch, so I've been playing through that, and I finally got past. I feel like I'm like 30 to 45% of the way through the game, so I'm gonna try and play like finish that game and the remake around the same time to kind of like compare the two. But I've been having fun. The classic, the original, is like really fun. It's been great to kind of take on the train with me and stuff.
You've already passed the part that the remake is based in.
Yeah,
The
definitely,
remake doesn't leave
definitely.
Midgar, which is like the first like 8 hours of the game. So.
Right, for sure. But I mean,
I still need to play it.
it might take me a while. So I know that the intermission came out. Who knows when the part 2 is going to come out? Maybe it'll be before I beat the original. We'll see. But yeah, that's been fun. Enjoying a classic game that I've always wanted
Heck
to
yeah,
play.
great game. If you like that one,
Nice.
play the other 27. Final Fantasy is amazing.
We'll see. I played a couple of them, but
I'd recommend 8, 9, 10, and 12. I know that sounds like a lot, but those
I
ones are
liked
very
10 a lot.
good. Yeah.
I
Oh, you
got
played 10?
stuck I got stuck at this like boss who kept making every character go berserk and then just like attack a certain tentacle on this monster, and then he would like obliterate you because you attacked a certain tentacle that you weren't supposed to. But the only thing that I could do was to like give everybody a certain potion to make them not berserk. But just before I entered that level, I sold all my useless potions that I was never using.
Oh no!
So I was like, I never played it again.
Never picked it up again.
Funny.
Yeah.
It's usually how it goes.
We're just real quick, Brian. Why would you decide to pick those ones and not? Because I know some of those comes with 2. Like I know there's a 10-2. Why not those ones as well?
10-2's fine. It's a direct sequel of 10. Kind of a direct sequel to 10. It's cool because girl power. Like that's cool. You get to play like all girl main characters, but the story is a little shaky in my opinion, personally.
Gotcha.
That's the only one that has a 2 from that. Don't play 13 or 13.2 or 13.3.587565. I don't even know what all of that is.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's why I picked those ones. Also, they're
Gotcha.
3D, so they haven't aged quite as poorly. They don't have as much of the annoyances that like 6 is. I think 6 is good, but it gets a little bit of a lull like halfway through that I'm sure that most people probably wouldn't like, and it's a little dense. So yeah,
Interesting.
7 is not as strong as I think people say they are. That 7 has definitely gotten more hype than it deserves, in my opinion. But
I can see that.
don't listen to me.
What you been up to, Devin?
I only got a minor thing for you guys. I got a minor another Skyrim story for you that's just hilarious. But
Oh boy.
basically, so I'm playing up with all the mods on. So I've gotten it to a point where I have 3 followers right now. I have this one. I have 2. One is Inigo, which is like the coolest. I don't know if you guys know about Inigo.
What'd you call me?
I'm sorry.
Inigo. Inigo.
With an I? Is there an I in there?
Inigo. Inigo.
Like the guy from Princess Bride?
Yes, Inigo Montoya, but he's a Khajiit.
You said that real quick.
Okay. Yes. It's a name.
Really...
It's a name, guys, I promise.
Me and Brian looked at each other.
This podcast is over. We are done.
Okay. So he's this really cool Khajiit that like has like all these cool dialogues and things, and like he's like he'll roast you and like, you know, he's got all this cool stuff, but he's a really good archer. And then I got Serana from, you know, the vampire. She's amazing. And then I have this random third one that like you know, isn't great, but whatever. But the funny thing is that it makes every battle just like, and like I barely get to participate in any of the battles. So like the other day I was taking on those obnoxious people in like the West. I was taking on some of the Forsworn, and it was kind of like, you know, like a tense battle, whatever. And so I duck into a hut real quick, and I'm like healing up or whatever. And then I poke my head around the corner, and like Inigo is just like slicing this guy's throat like on like a tower, just like Kurt,
Oh my
like
God.
Sparta kicking somebody off the tower. Like it's like it's over. Like they already wrapped it up. So
Wow.
I had like a good laugh about that because it's just like so like it's not really challenging anymore.
You're the reason that this game keeps getting remade.
Absolutely. I mean, the mod community really made this game have some lasting power.
Yeah.
I mean, golf power to you. It sounds hilarious.
I just looked up the character, and like the first image I pulled up was him fighting a wizard. Then he goes, "Son of a witch," and I'm like, this guy. He seems like a fun character. I don't know. Maybe I'll use him someday when I play this game for the 12th
I never
time.
highly
played
recommend
those
them.
games with partners or what do you call them? Followers?
Followers.
Yeah,
me
companions.
neither.
I don't know.
Companion. That whole idea sounded weird, so I never tried it.
Lydia was stupid. She would always die all the time for doing dumb shit. So I had to become a necromancer just so I can resurrect her. And that was stupid, pissing me off all the time because I'd be like,
You had to figure out how to bring someone back from the dead.
because I try to be like a stealth archer or something, and she just runs the fuck in like Rambo. Like, what are you
Right.
doing? Go home.
That's mostly the reason why I would not have followers, because I feel like they would just hold me back.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's pretty cool.
I have a music free for all. Actually, this time
Ooh,
that's something
boy.
different. Look at that. So recently, Halsey's new album came out, which wouldn't initially interest me at all because I mean she's fine, but she usually makes that pop kind of top 40 music, not really my jam. But this most recent album was actually produced by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. I don't know if you guys are familiar
shit.
with him
Wow.
and his work,
Yeah.
which gives it a much more industrial sound, I guess would be the best part about it. So, you know, I gave it a quick listen to see what it's about, and that shit slaps.
Damn, really?
I
Wow.
think it's pretty fucking good. There's a couple
Shit.
songs that get more like actual Halsey that I'm like, whatever. But
Right.
anything that sounds like Trent Reznor, it just sounds fucking really
Yeah,
good.
dude.
So I would
Cool.
highly recommend anybody that is into, I don't know, just different music. I'd say give it a try. I like a lot of different stuff. I don't know if people know that. I like a lot of different kinds of music, but really doesn't really get to me the same way. But yeah, that album's dope. And I think it's better than whatever the fuck Kanye West just released. So
yeah, I haven't even. I
haven't tried that out yet.
It is 2 hours, 27 songs, and that is a whole other thing. But we don't have to get that far.
Damn. Yeah, I didn't even bother looking it up. I heard just trash. I was like, nope, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
That's cool. I'll have to hit that up because Trent Reznor's dope. He makes I know he doesn't really make Nine Inch Nails music anymore, but he does a lot of movie scores now, along with Atticus Ross, and they're pretty dope.
He's dope.
Got good music.
Apparently, he's a cool guy too. Apparently, he's a nice dude.
Yeah. Sweet. That was awesome, guys.
We did it.
Thank you for listening, everyone. You can email us at thefortressof@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. You can email us any questions or any feedback you have, or any recommendations, or anything else you'd like to hear from us. If we missed anything on our main topic or anything, we might pull out some questions or anything and talk about them in the future. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, also at the Fortress of. And also check out the YouTube channel, the Fourtress of, which will have cool little things and extra stuff, fun little shorts on there every now and then. Yeah. So don't forget to review and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat.
Definitely tell
grandma in the background. Tell grandma. She'll just play it for her. She won't know the difference. It's fine. She's just happy people are hanging out with her.
She can't hear anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to follow me on the Instagrams, my name is Alex is an Alien. Check me out.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at It's By The Way. That is ITZ By The Way. ITZ _ by the way, actually. And then you can follow me on Facebook at ITZ By The Way, no underscore. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/bythewayx. We've been having fun playing this game called Valheim. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. It is a survival kind of game. And we've been going on adventures as Charcuterie. And it's been fun. We've been enjoying that recently. Charcuterie board has been fighting monsters and building houses.
Charcuterie board.
Snap.
That's funny.
Sounds tasty.
Hey guys, if you want some suboptimal content, you can find me at
Clefairy.
But it doesn't matter because this is going to get silenced just like China silences everything. Just like China silenced it.
Oh boy.
Just like they silenced those children playing video games. It's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, you're damn right we're silencing you. Before we go, once again, we wanted to thank you, Brian, for the fabulous artwork. He did it all by himself, and it looks amazing and incredible, and we love it every week. Thank you, Alex, for the theme music and the outro music. Sounds dope. Then, Devin, thanks for just hanging out. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being you.
Thanks for being alive.
I aim to please.
And thank you, Jackie, our sound engineer, for helping edit and deal with the podcasts and all the mixing and everything every week. We really appreciate it. That's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Happy
guys.
holidays. For whatever holiday
holidays.
you're celebrating right now, whatever time of year it is. Put a code on its code out there. And we'll see you next week here in another episode of The Fourtress of...